Am I the asshole? I do not want my husband to come on a family cruise. This one's tearing me apart. What's your gut telling you? Hit me in the comments with your advice or a story that hits close to home. I, 50, female, have been with my husband, 52, male, for 24 years. Over the past few years, he has aged rapidly, like a dog. My fun-loving, energetic, happy husband has become someone who only sits and stares at the wall. When he is not doing that, he is sleeping. Without interference, he would sleep for 20 hours out of every 24. He has been like this for 4 years, has seen 20 doctors, and takes 3 pills for each one he saw. In January, he broke a bone in his foot while walking up the stairs because he developed a heel wound and did not tell anyone. The bone infection weakened his bones. Since then, he has been hospitalized 3 times, had 2 surgeries. He currently has a large external fixator on his right ankle and leg that resembles a metal halo, and has 2 more surgeries planned. I have to administer intravenous antibiotics twice a day through his peripherally inserted central catheter line, his second round of 6 weeks, because he cannot see well enough to do it himself. He receives daily wound care for his heel from visiting nurses, which I have to do 4 days a week because they only come 3 times a week. Additionally, I have to change the dressing every time it falls off, which happens another 2 to 3 times a week. As you can imagine, he cannot work, which forces me to carry every burden we have. I have had to work more hours to support the entire family. I have to clean our house, cook every meal, pay the bills, shop for food, maintain the car, and arrange and attend medical appointments. I just had to fix the garbage disposal that my husband dropped a fork into, and our youngest daughter's scooter got a flat tire. Did I mention we have 2 daughters, aged 21 and 12? We do, or rather, I do. If someone is awake but spaced out for only 4 hours a day, can you really call them a parent? A year ago, we booked a cruise for the family. A week in the Caribbean with water parks, snorkeling, sightseeing, shows, food, and more. We have all been looking forward to it, but I am desperate to go. I am mentally and physically exhausted. I need a vacation, a break. I am being pulled in every direction 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We learned 2 days ago that the large metal apparatus on his foot is not coming off anytime soon. Plus, the wound is healing incredibly slowly. My husband and I talked about the cruise, which is in a month. He says he is going. I told him I did not think he should. I told him I needed a break. He cannot do anything once we are there. He cannot swim or submerge the leg with the fracture. He is not supposed to be up and around, as he is ordered to be non-weight-bearing on that leg. I told him it would be completely unfair to me and the girls, as I would be forced to nurse him and push him everywhere in a wheelchair, while our daughters would feel guilty about leaving him behind and going anywhere. How is that fun? I explained all that and more. He says he is going. He will just sit in the casino with all the money he does not have. I told him no. He is mad and sulking. So, am I the asshole? I do not want him to go. Update. To address a common theme regarding my husband's medical issues, the worst thing he has is diabetes, which was completely uncontrolled before his foot fracture. By age 50, he needed a second cataract removed because his average blood sugar was 500 for years. He also has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and fatty liver, conditions that many people have and manage fine. He chooses not to. If the medicine he takes does not fix the problem, he believes he needs another medicine. He had a wound on his heel that he hid from everyone. It festered and spread to his bone. This entire mess was preventable, but what does he care? I am the one with all the extra work and stress. He gets to do nothing. He does not have to work. He does not have to do a thing, but he should still go on the cruise, still force me to wait on him all day, every day, so he gets a break? A break from what? Sleep? Also, I should have mentioned in the original post that he has complete control over his sleep schedule. When family visits or when we travel to visit his family, he is awake like a normal person. He might take an hour-long nap in the afternoon, but that is it. He sleeps 8 to 9 hours and spends the day visiting with family. Once he is home, he checks out. I have begged him to participate in this family for years. Wake up. Be present. He always says yes, but then does nothing different. He is sleeping right now after falling asleep 14 hours ago. I am up every morning at 5 a.m. with our youngest daughter. She is an early riser. Before I wake him so I can administer his antibiotics and do wound care. When that is done, I go to work for 8 to 9 hours and he falls back to sleep. Commenter 1. Not the asshole. Everyone saying in sickness and in health is really misguided. You are not saying you are going to divorce him over his health, but that you need a vacation and a break from being his caregiver, which is 100% valid. She understands the for better or worse part, but caregiver fatigue is a very real thing too. He cannot stop chronic illness, but understanding that rest and support need to go both ways is really important. There is not an easy solution, but this is a social support problem, not a lack of loyalty on her part. Caregiver burnout is real, and needing a break is not selfish. Saying no helps her recharge and keeps things better for everyone. Yes, a paid caregiver would be entitled to respite. If you are not paid, you just have to take it wherever you can. I looked after my sister when she had terminal cancer for 6 months and would not change the opportunity one had to be there with and for her for any reason. But there were times I needed breaks and I lined people up to substitute for me, and I do not regret that either. Commenter 2. Because she is a woman, by default she is expected to care for him above all else all the time with no break. Imagine if the genders were reversed. People would be telling him he needs a break. Some might even tell him to go further than that. I have seen some unfortunate threads on Reddit with comments telling the husband to leave the wife in similar circumstances, usually mentioning how the wife cannot have sex due to the medical issue. It is utterly gross. I hate it here. I mean, men typically leave their sick wives, so that makes sense, which is also depressing. Fortunately, I was already sick when I met my partner. When I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I remember how many people applauded my partner for not leaving me. It was a wild time. Commenter 3. Not the asshole. Cruise ships are cesspools. There is absolutely no way I would take someone with multiple open wounds on one. Yes, this is actually the stronger reason to me, not everything the original poster listed. Honestly, I like cruises, but I would not go on one if I were in the original poster's husband's state of health. Right? Like, caregiver burnout aside, which is real and valid and the original poster needs a vacation, I would argue that it is unethical to take someone in that state on board a floating petri dish. The chances are very, very high that it would be disastrous to someone's health. I have an autoimmune disease, and even when I was in remission, my doctors strongly advised me against booking a cruise. With something like diabetes that the husband will not control, she said his A1C was 13, which is double what it should be, and he will not take care of himself or eat better at home. A cruise ship is a horrible idea. Commenter 4. What happens if something happens to him on the ship? Do you have full travel medical coverage for a cruise or in other countries? If not, then he needs to stay home. Medical care on a ship costs a fortune. It would not be covered anyway, as they are all pre-existing conditions. You can get coverage for pre-existing conditions. It depends on the insurer and it is more expensive. I travel a lot, including during COVID lockdowns, and have multiple pre-existing medical conditions. Commenter 5. Not the asshole. Caregiver burnout is definitely a thing, and as a person with a chronic illness, I understand where he is coming from too. The thing is, he cannot do anything and he knows it. He is probably depressed. I would say he can come if you can afford a nurse to also come for full-time care. Otherwise, another trip can be planned when he is finally healed. The risk of getting another infection on a Caribbean vacation, especially with an open wound, is also high. Plus, is he even eligible for insurance to go right now? The original poster has not forsaken any vows at all. She has been there, stepping up for years, and she is not leaving him for good. She is only asking for a week away. It is also tough on her children, I am sure, especially the 12-year-old, to have an ill parent, and for that reason alone, she is not the asshole. They deserve a week of not feeling guilty and not seeing their parents sick and hurting. Take your children, original poster, and enjoy your much-deserved vacation. Also, get counseling, individual and together, so hopefully you can work through some of these issues. Chronic illness is challenging for everyone. Hang in there. Commenter 6. No assholes here / everyone sucks here. Of the 20 doctors, has a neurologist or a psychiatrist been consulted? This sounds deeper than just a broken foot. Seriously, I am baffled. Clearly, there is something psychiatric going on, and if he is truly on 3 or more medications, since I cannot believe he is currently on 3 per doctor as the original poster says, then he needs inpatient care of some sort to figure things out. Even 1 medication per every other doctor is 10 medications with no apparent effect. If he is truly sleeping 20 hours a day and spending the remaining for staring at walls, I do not understand how no one is more concerned about this, especially over that many years. Whether it is psychiatric inpatient or just regular, clearly something is wrong. I am sure he has some diagnosis if he has seen that many people, or at least a selection of tentative ones. I would like to know what they are. The original poster mentioned depression in another comment, albeit dismissively. But 4 years straight with no improvement is, well, it happens, but at that point it is beyond he has depression but who has not territory, honestly. Also confused that they booked the cruise a year ago, when he would have still been doing nothing by the original poster's timeline. I mean, finances change, but a cruise for 4 is not cheap, and for that matter, if they can cancel 1 ticket, it might be better to simply cancel them all and go on a cheaper vacation. If he has a broken foot due to osteomyelitis, he is absolutely on 9, probably more, medications. The delayed wound healing is the dead giveaway. He likely had type 2 diabetes he ignored for years. Metformin or glipizide for that. Likely statins or antihypertensives too with his age, if he neglected his health and diet enough to walk on a bone infection until his foot broke. Multiple pain medications for the excruciating pain he egotistically manned up through to neglect his health. Probably acetaminophen or ibuprofen, gabapentin or pregabalin for neuropathy, and opioids for breakthrough pain which cause severe constipation, so then you need a stool softener to prevent a small bowel obstruction, and as needed laxatives when the stool softeners do not work. Antibiotics to go in his peripherally inserted central catheter line. As needed nausea medication for the gastrointestinal upset intravenous antibiotics cause. Probably a bisphosphonate to increase bone density or slow bone density loss, medicated topicals for wound care. And that is before the medications you get for the severe depression he has because he faced the consequences of his actions. When you do not see a doctor for years, as you would have to have done to break your bone from walking with osteomyelitis, you are not skipping appointments and medications, you just push them out so they all hit at once and you need even more. It goes from preventive care to curative care, and it takes a lot more intervention for curing than preventing. I would go back to sleeping 20 hours a day and staring at a wall too if I did this to myself out of ego. Knew a potential limb amputation was on the horizon, and needed my wife to help me wash my backside. This is 100% a poorly controlled diabetic who has set the bar so low for his health. These people are not an anomaly, they are everywhere. Absolutely no accountability, no reason. They just continue to waste away. Sugar addicts. Diabetes is horrible, and if you are getting foot wounds and broken bones from osteomyelitis, it is only a matter of time before a below-knee amputation. A below-knee amputation is a wake-up call to some who change their life, but mostly it is the beginning of the end.